Okay, um, as promised, I'm going to be doing a vHRC run here from a healer point of view, giving some voiceover. I'm going to preface this run by saying that this was a bit of a mess. Usually we would have plenty of vitality left. We had some lag issues. We just had some tank issues. Tank was relatively new for us as a group. Didn't know all the pulls. Um, but I thought rather than forcing a rerun and doing a nice quick clean run, I'll show you what actually happens when everything goes to hell and how you react and adapt as a healer. So, having said that, the first part here is pretty boring. Helra, if you ever launch into Helra at the moment and it's nighttime, just walk away. The lag is unbearable. You can only play this trial when it's bright daylight out in the game. There is no way you could complete it with full lives left if it's dark because people lag out, and unless your healers are able to keep them alive and the group alive, there is no chance. So what we typically do here is we run a rapids, as you saw, and everyone goes through. Essentially, what's happening is we're going to run past the ads. As a healer, what I do is I drop off about here. And the reason I do that is if you look at the health bars, people are taking hits. Not everyone has a fast horse. Not everyone has stam. So I'm dropping off on purpose to keep them alive with Breath of Lives. At this stage here, my controller disconnected, which happens. Fortunately, I had a little bit of heal over time going on me, so I didn't die, and I didn't have too much aggro. We typically stack in this corner here. What you want to do here is you want to get your lightning blockades out so that you're keeping everything off balance. You want to make sure that you're putting your combat prayer down. Stack behind the group always so that you can get them in combat prayer. And of course spam your springs so that everyone has stam. What's going to happen here is Tank's going to run around and pill the next set of ads. Typically you would stay in group for this. You would not move out until you've done with all the ads. This is really the easy way to burn the ads in this part of the trial. Um, you'll see shortly what's going to happen. I'm just positioning myself so that I can get a better view. You'll see shortly that the tank will pull the ads and they'll come out of the back corner of this area here. So what I typically do here is I'll drop a combat prayer, I'll drop my heal over times, put down all the necessary heals so that the group is buffed. And then if I've got a Nova, I'll drop a Nova. What's going to happen is a bunch of ads are going to come through and they hit hard. So you see there, I'll drop a Nova to mitigate some of the damage. It works quite well. This is a bit of a lag fest for sure. But essentially what's going to happen here is we're just going to melt all the ads. Now what's going to happen is we're going to run around the corner, we're going to pull the flame shapers in. You have to kind of just keep tank alive, so you want to run forward and just Breath of Life spam heals. Essentially what they're going to do is try and stack the flame shapers. We did not do a great job of stacking them here. You can see a couple in the back, but they do stack themselves quite nicely. This is very much a springs fight. What's happening is you're seeing the mag sorks interrupting with crushing shock. Essentially for this trial, the flame shapers are the hardest non-boss targets. They hit the hardest. You want to make sure that you prioritize them. You want to make sure that you're putting down any buffs and debuffs on them. And of course standing in springs, dropping your heal over time, putting down your combat prayers, etc. Now what we're doing is really a bit of a cheese. We're just going to do the rock method. The rock method is really the easiest to get through here. We wanted a quick, fast run. We wanted to make sure that we didn't want to spend too much time in here because as soon as it goes dark, you're going to have a bit of a problem. You can see me looking through my bar to put elemental blockade on. I should have done that earlier, but I forgot, as it happens. Here you'll see tank and off tank go out. Off tank's going to pull in the ads, tank's going to pull in the boss. What he's going to do is he's going to position the boss so that the melee can actually hit the boss. You'll see me now standing at the back of the rock. That is intentional. Again, I want to get everyone in my combat prayer. The trick here is trying to get yourself in your springs and basically trying to get tank in the springs as well. So if the positioning is off by a little bit, tank doesn't get springs and it's a wipe. This is yeah, this is what happens when off-tank stacks the destroyer on the wrong side of the rock. You can see it knocks everyone flying. Like I said, this was not a clean run. So here, like I said, the trick is to keep everyone in your springs, keep your combat prayers down, make sure that you've got your blockade up if you're running blockade, and of course doing your war horns. I didn't mention it earlier, but essentially what I'm running here is mending. This is giving a debuff. It does make it a little tricky, means that you've got to be within 10 meters of the boss. But we're finding that mending is really the set to run at the moment. Other healers running warm, main tank is running airburn. We're looking at switching it up, potentially having other off-tank run, something like Sanctuary, PA, or even Sanctuary Worm. There's a couple of options that we're thinking of messing around with to try and get a little bit more of a buff. Really, this fight is all about Spring's positioning and making sure that you keep tank up. I'm going to fast forward a little bit. Just heads up, what's going to happen is tank is going to lose aggro, or he's going to lose block, and he's going to die, and everything's going to go to hell for a second. And what you'll see is how we try and rectify the situation. I'm just going to fast forward through this piece here. It happens, I think, at about 20% after he's got through spinning phase. But basically what happens here is you see tank's fine, he's struggling a little bit, and then he's dead. So nothing really changed. It just was a bit of a lack of focus for a second. Now, usually healers never res. But what you're seeing here is I was first on scene, and I'm a Templar, which means that I get a pretty quick res compared to anyone else. Someone else is tanking boss off on the side there. I said off tank is tanking boss on the side, just kind of kiting him at the moment because he can't really take a hit. A little bit of chaos. People aren't really able to get the res off. I saw an opportunity, jumped in and got the res, and managed to pick up tank. Struggled to get back on the rock because this damn rock. And then basically what we did is we tried to clean up the fight. At this point I'm targeting tank. He has no resources. Throw shards out for him, put down a lightning wall if I can so that I can get the boss off balance. The challenge that you've always got here is that tank cannot push boss, tank can only pull boss. So in order for him to reposition, he's going to have to come around boss and pull him towards us. Considering where his health is at, it's easier for me to just target tank, other healers to target group, and for our ranged DPS it's just to take the boss down. So again, very messy fight. You can see tank is taking a beating. Usually that's not the case. Okay, so I'm going to fast forward through this piece here, but basically we pull the ads the door by putting down Lemon's blockade, running away, and the ads will come out. Allows us to burn them before going in. Makes it a little bit of an easier fight. I'm going top boss here. Typically I run top. It is considered the harder heal. And I enjoy the challenge. So what we're going to do now is we're going to run in, and essentially what we're going to do is just clear all the ads right up until we get to the top of the stairs, where I want to show you something that I do there. Nothing too challenging. Pushing up the stairs, you're going to find typically the destroyers are the biggest challenge, and only really because they knock you back, and they can knock you right off. Actually, this has happened more than once. So what you'll see is very standard fight to heal. You're putting down your hearts, putting down your springs, making sure that everyone's in combat prayer as much as possible, putting down your blockade. So there's a destroyer. So typically we would focus destroyer, melt him, and then get the rest of the ads. You see everyone's kind of positioned on the side away from the cliff face. This is very intentional. So we're going to run across the bridge here. At the top of the stairs, what we're going to do is we're going to turn around. We're going to stack. This pulls all the ads up, allows everyone to burn them, gets everyone in a nice blockade line so that you can get your damage over times out. So what I'm doing here is really just keeping everyone up. Typically at this stage I'm block casting, so you'll see my stand bar go up slowly. That's because of the Master Resto. So that destroyer hits really hard, as you can see, and if you don't block that, that is a major knockback. You've got to be a little bit careful here because you don't want to pill the gargoyles at the same time. The gargoyles will do a ground pound that will take you out entirely if you're not prepared. So this is a bit of a messy fight. Typically, if you aren't totally on point, it gets really ugly fast. I'm talking about the boss fight. This is just melting ads. That's why I'm fast forwarding through it. Only thing you got to remember there in that fight is the gargoyles. If you have a soak with you, you're going to want to drop negate for the ground pound. Totally nullifies it. So we burn all the ads here. We pull the boss out. Essentially, what's going to happen is we're all going to stack in this corner. And what that'll do is it'll force the boss, when he splits, to have all of his reflections stack, which allows us to put down some serious damage through lightning attacks and damage over times. So you need to do a little bit of a burn on the boss before first split. This is a tough fight to heal, mainly because the meteors disable you. So we're going to split, we're going to stack here. There's going to be a lot of damage coming in, so you're going to want to heal as much as you can. Put down your hearts, put down your springs. Make sure that wherever possible you're warded up and you're covering your ass. So we did not get a good stack. So you can see the ads are very loosely stacked. This was not a good example, and you see people already dying. You have to have pretty much exclusively mag sorks up here. Well, you want mostly mag sorks, just so that you can get the interrupts off. But really, this fight is a bit of a bitch to heal. You just gotta be on your game, and it's very situational. So what you'll see is I'm dropping Warhorn just as we spread out, so that we can do more damage on the ads. There I go down. Those meteors hit hard. So you've really got to watch out for those. You've got to do a much better job than I did there, rolling away and making sure that you're not taking damage. Coming back without any resources is always a bit of a hassle. So I always drop a shard so that people can get the resources back as soon as they come back up. And I threw bullet balls for the same reason. So I'm going to fast forward this, but basically it's the same mechanic all the way through until you get to the very end, and then you just melt the boss. So top boss, not the trickiest of fights, but really there's a lot of damage coming in, especially towards the end. Those flame shapers hit really hard, and they basically start from, as soon as they spawn, they start doing damage. So what we're going to do here is we're going to run downstairs. We're going to basically wait for bottom group to finish, and then take out all the ads, and then move up into final boss. So we're going to basically just clear this ad here and wait for the bottom group to catch up. This is a really messy fight, and I'm honest, I probably would have clipped it, but I wanted to show you just how bad things can go. So usually what would happen is tanks would run out and take aggro from the gargoyles, pull them off to one side, we'd melt all the ads. As a healer, it gets a little tricky because you've got to target tank and you've got to target the group. So what happens there is tank ran off and a gargoyle killed him, which is generally not normal. Again, there was a bit of a glitchy day. Relatively a couple of different new people in the group didn't quite know our playstyle. So we stack in the corner, melt the ads, focus the flame shapers, come out, and melt the gargoyles. This is the last fight before the final boss fight. So usually at this stage, everyone's kind of working well together, and it's a bit of an easy fight. Today, this one did not go well, but we got through it, and we moved on to the last boss. So I'm gonna just fast forward this piece here. Essentially, we always get this chest because when he goes and breaks the statue and it falls apart, that chest disappears. So a little bit of explaining occurring here because, like I said, we have so many people to this group not used to running with us. We don't usually run this with an off tank, especially when it's non-hard mode. It's not really required. We happen to have one, so we decided to just make use of him. That's why you can see he's running guard on main tank. So the way this fight works is pretty simple. First of all, you want to make sure that everyone's standing in the blue circle. This increases damage. So you're going to see most of the DPSs are standing right at the very front of the circle. You're going to have a healer on either side, focusing group and tank. So the goal here is to get your springs on tank overlapping and group.
If you can get yourself in your springs, that's ideal. You may have to adjust yourself just a fraction to be on the very tip. And in this way, what happens is Tank can essentially take those really heavy attacks from the boss, as long as he's got 2 springs in him. If we each have 1 spring, it doesn't work as well. So what you'll see is I'm typically just standing here casting springs, putting down combat prayer, putting down shards for Tank every now and then just to make sure that he has resources, making sure that I have my blockade up. He's going to jump here, everyone should block. You can see that was a great block, everyone blocked and didn't take too much damage. This is a shield throw. What you want to do is you want to stay out of those shield throws. You can actually block through the first shield throws here, and a little later on he's going to do something called a wave. You cannot block through the wave. Typically you can't block through the wave. So really what I'm doing is I'm putting that combat prayer, springs, heal over times, making sure that the group is getting heals, plus buffing and debuffing as much as possible, keeping a power of the light up if I can. You want to make sure that you keep enough stam for this fight though, because you do have to block a lot. So he's going to go and break the last statue. Essentially what that's going to do is it's going to get rid of the extra damage circle. So at this stage the fight becomes pretty repetitive, and you're essentially just going to make sure that you don't get hit by any shield throws, and that you're stacking springs on fast, keeping the resources of the group up. So the fight becomes pretty repetitive for the next couple of minutes. Essentially what you're doing is exactly the same thing as you've done so far. At about 35%, what he's going to do is he's going to raise his sword in the air, and he's going to knock everyone back. It's imperative that everyone blocks. You can see other healers caught off guard. She's quite naked. So essentially what's going to happen next is he's going to do a jump, which you want to block like I was doing there. I block cast that. This was actually poorly timed on my side. You can see my stam is too low. At this stage what you have to do is block. In an ideal world what you do is you'd have everyone stacked so that you could get them in springs and get them some stam back from the Master Resto while they're blocking. Here you'll see it's a bit of a race to get your stam back before the next Shi-Hai phase. You can block cast Breath of Life through that phase, and it works well. The problem is that you're not getting back stam, so you're always going to want to try and block cast springs whenever you can, because that gives everyone stam back while they're blocking. So essentially what's going to happen is there's going to be a lot of Shi-Hai phases. He's going to do it periodically. He's going to throw a wave immediately after, like that. Ideally he throws a wave at Tank, usually he doesn't. Wave, you have to roll out the way. The fight now changes to this mechanic, and you're basically going to be fighting fast through to the end, just avoiding Shi-Hai, avoiding waves, which I did not do there, and making sure that you're just keeping everyone alive. So now the fight goes through to basically the end. It is not a very hard boss to fight as long as you know his mechanics. This was a very, very messy run. Like I said, I was almost tempted not to even post it, but what I figured is it's good for you to see how things can go wrong. Great group of people. We can usually do this in about a half hour with about 15 to 20 lives, I'd say. We had 4 subs in this group, so people that were not used to running with us, which created some of the reasons why we saw some pretty bad pulls. But overall, good people are just not used to working as a group, which is really the most important thing when it comes to running trials. So hopefully it helped having this tutorial. So if you have any questions, let me know, as always. And hopefully you enjoyed the run.